Hey guys, welcome back to Kindergarten Ready. We're going to finish Junie B. Jones and Her Big Fat Mouth. It's written by Barbara Park and it's illustrated by Denise Brunkus, okay? Tonight we're going to find out what job Junie B. Jones chooses where she gets to paint, carry jangly keys, and save people from danger. All right, you ready? Okay, Chapter 7, Jobs and Jobs. When I got off the bus, I zoomed to room 9. That's because I wanted job day to start very quick. Only first we had to take attendance, and then we had to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the public for which it stands. Except for I don't know what that done story's even talking about. Then finally, Mrs. clapped her hands together. And guess what? Job day started. That's what. Boys and girls, you all look wonderful in your outfits, Mrs. said. I can't wait to learn what all of you want to be when you grow up. Who would like to go first? I would, I yelled out. Only then my bestest friend Lucille raised her hand very polite and she got to go first. Lucille looked the most beautifulest I'd ever seen her. She was wearing a new dress that her Nana bought for her. It was the color of pink velvet. And she had on shiny pink shoes and socks with bows and lace on them. Lucille's Nana is loaded, I think. Lucille went to the front of the room. She reached into a little bag and pulled out a sparkling crown with jewels on it. Look at her. Then Oliver and Nine said, ooh, except for not the boys. When I grow up, I'm going to marry a prince, she said, and I'll be a princess, and my name will be Princess Lucille. Then she put the sparkling crown on her head, and she looked like a fairy tale guy. Mrs. smiled. That's a lovely thought, said Lucille. I know, said Lucille. My Nana says if you marry a prince, you're set for life. After that, Lucille said her dress costed $85 and her shoes costed $45 and her lacy socks costed $6.50 plus tax. Then Mrs. told Lucille to sit down. Ricardo went next. He was wearing a round yellow hat. It was the kind of hat you bang on. This is called a hard hat, he said. You have to wear it when you're building tall buildings or else somebody might drop a hammer from way up high and he could hit you on the head and kill you. Mrs. smiled. So you're interested in construction, right, Ricardo? She asked. But Ricardo just kept on talking about other stuff that could fall on your head and kill you, like a paint can and an electric drill and a lunchbox. Then Mrs. says sit down to him, too. That's when William raised his hand, only he was being very bashful and he wouldn't go to the front of the room. You don't have to be nervous, William, said Mrs. Just tell us what you want to be when you grow up. William covered his face with his hands. Super William, he said very quiet. And then he got out of his seat and he jumped way up high in the air, only his cape got tangled in his chair and he crashed into a table. After that, Super William got very sniffling. Mrs. said we could get back to him later. Then lots of other kids talked about their jobs. Like a boy named Clifton's going to be a rich and famous astronaut. And a girl named Lily's going to be a rich and famous movie star and also would like to direct. And a boy named Ham is going to be a rich and famous boss of a big company. And he taught us how to say the words, "You're fired." And here's the best one of all. Because a boy named Jamal Hall, he's going to be a rich and famous president of the whole United States. Cool, said Ricardo. Then the other boys said cool, too. I did a secret smile. Yeah, only not as cool as my job, I thought to myself. Then I raised my hand very polite. Mrs. called my name. Oh, boy, I shouted, oh, boy, because mine is even better than the President of the United States. I zoomed speedy quick to the front of the room. Then my excitement wouldn't stay inside of me anymore. A janitor! I'm going to be a janitor, I hollered out. After that, I jingled my jangly keys, and I waved my paintbrush in the air, and I clapped and clapped. Only too bad for me, because nobody clapped back. And here's something even worser. Room 9 started laughing very much, and it was the mean kind. She wants to be a janitor, they yelled. Then they pointed at my brown pants, and they called me the name of stupid. And I didn't know what to do, because I felt very crumbly inside. Look at poor Junie B. Jones. They are hurting her feelings. They're not being very kind, are they? So I just kept on standing there. And my eyes got a little bit wet in them. And then my nose started running very much. And so that's how come I covered up my face. They're not having courtesy for me, I said real soft. Only just then Mrs. clapped her angry hands together and she scolded room 9 a lot. Junie B is right, she said. Being a janitor is very important. You have to be hardworking and reliable and very, very trustworthy. I peeked my fingers through her. Peeked through my fingers at her. Yeah, and don't forget the part about where you save people from danger, I said. Then that Jim I hate laughed right out loud. Janitors don't save people from danger, you goony bird, he said. I stamped my foot at him. Yes, they do. They do too. Because one time I was eating a dangerous lifesaver and janitor made me spit it out. And also he brought his flashlight to room 9 and he saved William from dangerous dental floss. Then I held up my jingling keys and see these things? Keys are what janitors unlock bathroom doors with, or else we couldn't even use the toilet. Then I showed him my paintbrush. My paintbrush. And janitor paints litter cans too. And I said, and painting is the funnest thing I love. And that Jim did a mean smile. Yeah, well, too bad for you, but you're a girl, and janitors have to be boys. So there. I run to his table. No, they do not, you stupid head Jim. Girls can be anything boys can be. Right, missus? Right. Because I saw that on Sesame Street and also on Oprah. Mrs. did a smile. And then my bestest friend Grace started to clap. And guess what? All the other girls in room 9 clapped too. She told him, huh? Okay, chapter 8 is called Gus Filoni. Today, janitor came to room 9 for show and tell, and it was the funnest day I ever saw. That's because he brought his very big toolbox with him, and we played a game called Name the Tools. And guess what? I knew the saw and the hammer and the metric socket set with adjustable ratchet. And then janitor showed us how to use his stuff, and Charlotte got to shine his giant flashlight. My bestest friend Grace got to push his big broom, and Lucky Duck Lucille got to clean the chalkboard with his squishy sponge. Except for just then a little bit of trouble happened because I wanted to mop, only that stupid head Jim wouldn't let go of it, so I had to pinch his arm. After that, the mop got removed from us. Removed is the school word for snatched right out of our hands. After that, janitor sat in a chair, and room 9 sat all around him, and he told us about himself and his job. And guess what? He's been a janitor for 14 years, and he was born in a different country from ours, and his name is Gus Filoni. Hey, I love that name of Gus Filoni, I hollered out, because Filoni's my favorite kind of sandwich. Then I smiled very proud. And guess what else? I said to room 9. Me and janitor are bestest friends, and sometimes he calls me the nickname of Sis. Then janitor winked at me. Can you wink? Just one eye. So I winked back, except for both my eyes kept on shut, and decided to hold one of them open with my finger. Like that. Look at her.
I'm reading Junie Jones and the Stupid Smelly Bus.
I really like that Gus Filoni, I whispered to my bestest friend Lucille. Only then that dumb girl named Lily heard what I said, and she started singing, Junie B's got a boyfriend, Junie B's got a boyfriend. So that's how come I felt very embarrassed. Me and my big fat mouth, I said. Then Mrs. laughed, and janitor laughed, and everybody else laughed too. After that, janitor had to go back to work, and so Mrs. shook his hand. Then room 9 clapped and clapped for him, and janitor smiled, and his jingle keys jangled all the way out the door. The end. Okay, guys, so I want you to think back about all the chapters that we've read this week, and I want you to think about who are the characters, who's the main character, that's the one the book is mostly about, and what was the setting. There were 2 different settings, okay? All right. Have an awesome, awesome day, and there will be no Junie B tomorrow night because we don't have enough chapters to make it for 5 nights. But you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you not this next week, but the next week. Remember, we're on spring break. So you guys have a very blessed and safe spring break, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Good night.